Before I move forward with my channel, before I tackle the more complicated and controversial issues, I feel like I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty and tackle some of these almost pop philosophy issues that I've never really had a chance to do before. I really want to take a crack at Pascal's wager. Now, Pascal's wager, for those of you who don't know, is a very simple concept to understand. It's basically that you should believe in God because if you do and you're wrong, there are no consequences after death. If, however, you disbelieve and you're wrong, you will be forever punished in hell, and it's simply in your best interests to believe. This is something that most people who are versed in philosophy consider an absolute joke. And let me explain to you why. For one, this has nothing to do with the validity of the issue. In fact, it actively directs people away from considering the arguments that debate whether or not God exists, because Pascal's wager puts forward the option that we should believe regardless of where the reasoning, where the arguments lead us, because at the end of the day it's just in our best interest to believe it, and we should ultimately just believe in God regardless of whether it's likely or unlikely or anything like that. Anything to avoid the consequence. It's like the people who argue for belief in God because faith helps people. It's devoid of the actual issues. It's an argument as to whether faith, whether belief is a good thing or not whether it's valid. As such, this is not going to help people believe in God because it's not giving you any real reasons to believe in God. It's just giving you reasons to pretend or to want to believe in God. Let me give you an example. If I tell you that I'm green, will you believe me? Hopefully if you're sane, you'll say no. Why? Because I don't really look green. But what if I were to hold a gun to your skull and tell you that if you don't believe, I will shoot you in the head? Will I suddenly turn green in your eyes? Will you actually believe that I'm now green? My bet would be that you might well say that you believe, but really you wouldn't. Why? Because I've done nothing to show you that I am actually green. I've simply threatened you with a bullet in the brain. That doesn't change the truth or the validity, the veracity of my argument one bit. In fact, it's just a downright ad baculum fallacy. Secondly, the wager itself is a false dichotomy. We don't have a choice of Christianity or atheism, or Islam or atheism, or anything like that. There are literally thousands of religions out there. Which one should we pick? The one most likely to be true? The one with the worst consequences? A combination of both? Chance on pure numbers would still suggest that you're wrong, so why not every religion and properly seal your deal? Is that even possible? And don't listen to people when they tell you that they respect the other religions, because if I remember rightly, these religions all require belief and not respect. The wager dictates belief in all of them. If you rode your chips on Jesus and ended up being judged by Allah, you can't say, "Oh Allah, I respected you and expect to get into heaven." No. You lost the bet, my friend. And if that wasn't bad enough, the wager fails off its own premise. Think about it. Why would anyone take this wager if they had legitimate reasons to believe in the first place? They wouldn't. They wouldn't need it. The wager is for people who lack those reasons. People like me. Now, the wager tells me that I can just put aside my reason and rationality and choose to believe something that my mind tells me is completely implausible simply because there's a threat if I'm wrong. Now, I don't know about you, but I've tried convincing myself of stuff that I know is implausible before, and it didn't really go so well. It's kind of hard to believe something when you know you're convincing yourself in the face of everything you know telling you differently. So maybe the wager's just saying that we should swing with a God anyway. Saying you believe something when you don't is a little thing called dishonesty. Now, you might get away with that here, you might get away with telling me that I'm green, but when it really matters, when you come face to face with God, He will see through your facade immediately and send you down to hell with the rest of us. Wager lost. So how should we think of this? If God is real, what should we do? Pretend to believe and hope to fool a being that can't be fooled? That's foolish. No, what we need to do is vocalize our beliefs, challenge the system. If this God exists, we want to believe, right? So we want it to be shown to us why. If the current reasons aren't sufficient, we will challenge them and demand better ones. Then and only then can we hope to win this wager. And what about if I'm right? What then? Well, I can say that I help the progression of thought by having discussions with people on this issue and encouraging people to be honest and rational. You spent your time encouraging people away from those things. You wasted your time worshipping when you could have been helping your fellow human beings. I spent my life trying to better things. You spent yours covering your ass. And if we were to take a certain view, given the simple economic rule that value is inversely proportionate to supply, the atheist earth life is more important than the theist. So to waste this life, if there is no afterlife, is a very grave thing indeed. And if anyone tells you that nothing matters after the grave, ask them why it is our actions are only given significance after the grave. See, I care about the earthly significance of my actions. When I die, I care about the impact that I've had on other people. Hopefully it will be a good one. By your actions, you seem to care more about what happens to you. I think I'll take my chances on being me any day. So what Pascal's wager actually boils down to is trading in your reason, rationality, and honesty for an insurance policy that doesn't actually work and you doubt you'll ever get a chance to cash in anyway. All while giving up the one thing you can be sure, time in your life, time to be productive on this earth, right here and right now, to carry out this insurance clause and worship. Ladies and gentlemen, place your bets.